Are you unknowingly harming your health with a habit that seems harmless? Reheating food? Many older adults in the US still believe that simply heating leftovers makes them safe to eat. But the truth is, some of the most common foods, once reheated, can silently cause food poisoning, damage your digestive system, and even increase the risk of cancer and brain-related illnesses. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, a specialist in senior health with over 20 years of experience. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 5 everyday foods you should absolutely never reheat, especially if you want to stay healthy, independent, and active after 60. This is not just another list of unverified internet claims. What I'm about to share is backed by serious medical research from organizations like the World Health Organization, WHO, the CDC, and Harvard University. If you're caring for yourself or an elderly loved one, this is something you need to know as soon as possible. But before we begin, take a moment to think. Do you often reheat rice, potatoes, or boiled vegetables? Leave a comment below, because one of those foods could be silently putting your health at risk. Most of us assume that reheating leftovers makes them safe, but after age 60, it's no longer that simple. As we age, our immune system weakens, and our digestion and detoxification processes slow down significantly. A dish that was perfectly safe when freshly cooked can, just a few hours later, or after sitting overnight in the fridge, transform into a breeding ground for bacteria, oxidized compounds, and hidden toxins that can harm the liver, intestines, and even the nervous system. What's more, many popular foods, when reheated in a microwave or unevenly on the stove, don't always reach a safe temperature. This means harmful bacteria or toxins may survive, or even become more dangerous. That's why doctors and nutrition experts in the US are now issuing a clear warning. Not all foods are safe to reheat, especially for older adults who are more vulnerable to digestive and metabolic complications. Up next, I'll show you exactly which 5 foods to avoid reheating, why they can be dangerous, and the safe alternatives you can use instead, starting today, right at your next meal. 1. White rice. Almost everyone has reheated a bowl of leftover rice. It's a common habit, especially in Asian American households or among those who eat rice daily. But what few people realize is that white rice, when reheated improperly, can become one of the most dangerous foods for people over 60. The reason lies in a type of bacteria called Bacillus cereus. This bacterium can survive even after the rice has been fully cooked. If rice is left at room temperature for more than 2 hours, then stored in the fridge and reheated later, Bacillus cereus can multiply and produce toxins that cause food poisoning. Even more concerning, these toxins are heat-resistant, meaning no matter how thoroughly you reheat the rice, the danger may remain. According to data from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, there are over 63,000 cases of Bacillus cereus poisoning reported in the U.S. every year, with the majority linked to leftover rice, noodles, and starchy foods stored too long. For older adults, the consequences can be much more severe. What may seem like a mild case of stomach pain or diarrhea can quickly lead to dehydration, low blood pressure, electrolyte imbalance, and a dangerous decline in overall health, especially in those with chronic conditions or who are taking long-term medications. So, what's the solution? Cook only what you need. If you have leftovers, cool them quickly and store them in an airtight container within 2 hours. Keep them in the refrigerator for no more than 24 hours. When reheating, ensure the internal temperature of the rice reaches at least 160-74 degrees, and only reheat once before eating. Rice is a dietary staple, but once you understand the hidden risks, you'll see that a small act of caution today can prevent a major health event tomorrow. 2. Boiled or roasted potatoes. Mr. Daniel, a 68-year-old veteran living in California, once believed there was nothing wrong with eating leftover roasted potatoes from the night before. But just 6 hours later, he began experiencing shortness of breath, slurred speech, and drooping eyelids. His family rushed him to the emergency room. Test results revealed botulinum poisoning, An extremely rare but highly dangerous form of foodborne illness, we often think of boiled or roasted potatoes as healthy and harmless. But if not stored properly, they can become a breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum, a bacterium that produces botulinum toxin, one of the most powerful neurotoxins known to science. Even a tiny amount can lead to nerve paralysis, respiratory failure, and death, if not treated promptly. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, botulinum toxin is not destroyed by regular reheating. It typically forms when starchy foods like potatoes are cooked, left to cool at room temperature, then stored without airtight sealing or proper refrigeration. For older adults, this is especially dangerous. A weakened immune system and slower physiological responses mean that symptoms may appear later, but when they do, they're often more severe. Botulism in seniors can cause permanent nerve damage, weakened respiratory muscles, or even stroke-like complications due to toxicity. So what should you do? If you're not eating all your potatoes right after cooking, cool them quickly, store them in an airtight container, and place them in the refrigerator within 2 hours. Most importantly, consume cold or at room temperature. Do not reheat. Boiled and roasted potatoes are naturally rich in potassium, fiber, and vitamin C. But they're only safe when stored and handled properly, especially for seniors over 60. Don't let a seemingly harmless dish turn into a silent threat to neurological health and life. 3. Leafy green vegetables, spinach, kale, etc. Leafy greens, especially vegetables like spinach, kale, mustard greens, and amaranth, have long been praised as superfoods due to their high content of natural nitrates, which help dilate blood vessels, lower blood pressure, improve circulation, and support cardiovascular health, particularly for older adults. But what many people don't realize is this. When you reheat cooked leafy greens, especially after they've cooled for several hours or overnight, the nitrates in these vegetables can convert into nitrites and eventually form nitrosamines, a class of compounds classified by the World Health Organization, WHO, as Group 2A carcinogens, meaning they are likely to cause cancer in humans. Scientific studies have shown that long-term accumulation of nitrosamines in the body can increase the risk of stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, and particularly esophageal cancer, diseases that often progress silently and are difficult to detect early in older adults. The underlying danger lies in the reheating process itself. High temperatures trigger nitrosation, a chemical reaction that transforms otherwise harmless nitrates into highly toxic compounds. And because leafy greens are soft and retain a lot of moisture, they are especially vulnerable to this transformation when reheated. For individuals over 60, with weaker digestive systems and slower detoxification capacity, the frequent consumption of reheated leafy greens can silently damage the liver, digestive tract, and even disrupt DNA structures, laying the foundation for abnormal cell growth. So, what's the safe solution? Always cook and consume leafy greens immediately after preparation. If you happen to cook too much, avoid reheating it with direct heat. Instead, lightly sauté with eggs for a brief time, or enjoy them cold as a salad with olive oil and lemon, a method that is both safe and preserves essential nutrients. Leafy green vegetables are a trusted ally in healthy aging, but only when used correctly. After age 60, every food choice doesn't just influence your nutrition, but can also impact your cancer risk and overall longevity. 4. Mushrooms. Mr. George, a 72-year-old man living alone in Oregon, had a habit of cooking mushroom-based dishes like stir-fried mushrooms and mushroom soup in bulk, then reheating portions throughout the week. At first, he noticed nothing unusual, but in recent months, he began experiencing frequent bloating, slow digestion, and persistent fatigue, despite eating regularly. Mr. George's story is not uncommon among older adults. Mushrooms are often considered a healthy food, low in calories, high in plant-based protein, antioxidants, and beta-glucans that support the immune system. However, mushrooms contain proteins and enzymes that are highly sensitive to heat. When you reheat cooked mushrooms, especially after several hours or overnight, their protein chains begin to break down, altering their structure and making them harder to digest. This process can also release small amounts of mildly toxic compounds, not enough to cause immediate food poisoning, but enough to place chronic stress on the liver, gallbladder, and digestive system, particularly if reheated mushrooms are eaten multiple times a week. What's more concerning is that the symptoms don't appear immediately. They progress silently, often mistaken for natural aging or a general loss of appetite in old age. In reality, it may be the accumulation of mild toxins impairing the body's ability to digest and detoxify. For those with underlying health conditions, such as liver disease, kidney issues, diabetes, or irritable bowel syndrome, the effects can be even more pronounced. These individuals often lack the metabolic capacity to neutralize the altered proteins and byproducts found in reheated mushrooms. If you cook mushrooms, consume them within the same meal. If there are leftovers, store them properly in the fridge and eat them cold, for example, in a chilled salad, or mixed into porridge or soup without reheating the mushrooms directly over heat. After age 60, the digestive system is no longer as resilient. Even one simple choice, like reheating a mushroom dish, can silently increase the burden on your liver and gut, gradually reducing your overall quality of life. 5. Boiled or fried eggs. Eggs have long been considered the king of natural protein sources, easy to digest, affordable, and rich in essential nutrients like choline, vitamin D, iron, and complete protein. Especially for those over 60, eggs are a breakfast staple, whether boiled, fried, or steamed. However, very few people realize this. When you reheat cooked eggs, whether boiled or fried, the protein in the eggs undergoes oxidation, forming unstable compounds that can irritate the stomach lining and intestinal tract, particularly in older adults with weakened digestive systems. According to a 2023 comprehensive report from the Harvard Nutrition Review, people over 60 who regularly consume reheated eggs have a 24% higher risk of developing gastritis and digestive disorders compared to those who only eat freshly cooked or just boiled eggs. Another hidden danger, often underestimated, is reheating eggs in the microwave. Because of the moisture trapped inside both the egg white and yolk, hard-boiled eggs, whether in the shell or peeled, can explode if heated too quickly, causing burns to the face or hands. This is especially hazardous for seniors with poor vision or slower reflexes. So what should you do? If you have leftover boiled eggs, do not reheat them. Instead, slice and eat them cold with a green salad, or mash them as a sandwich filling. As for fried eggs, it's best to cook only what you'll eat in one sitting. After the age of 60, the body becomes less forgiving of even small dietary mistakes. A seemingly harmless action, like reheating eggs, could trigger chronic inflammation in the digestive tract, reduce nutrient absorption, and silently lead to long-term health complications. Now you understand, not all reheated foods are harmless. Behind seemingly familiar dishes like cold rice, baked potatoes, or fried eggs lie hidden dangers that can seriously affect your health, especially if you're over 60. Leftover rice, if not reheated properly, can create the perfect environment for Bacillus cereus to grow, leading to diarrhea and dehydration, a condition particularly dangerous for older adults who are already more sensitive to electrolyte imbalances. Boiled or baked potatoes, when stored incorrectly and reheated, can trigger Clostridium botulinum, a deadly neurotoxin that can cause muscle paralysis. Leafy greens, when reheated, convert natural nitrates into nitrosamines, compounds classified by the World Health Organization, WHO, as probable digestive tract carcinogens. Mushrooms contain fragile proteins that break down under high heat, leading to digestive issues, while eggs, whether boiled or fried, undergo protein oxidation, creating compounds that can irritate the intestinal lining. Even worse, if reheated in a microwave, eggs can explode, causing severe burns. After the age of 60, the body becomes like a finely tuned machine that has run for decades. It must be protected, even from the smallest risks. A single poor choice in reheating food can lead to long-term consequences for your digestion, nervous system, or even increase your risk of cancer. As a doctor who has cared for thousands of older patients across the U.S., I always emphasize this: never trade convenience for your health. Make it a habit to cook only what you'll eat, store leftovers properly, and if you do have extra, choose to eat them cold or safely repurpose them rather than simply reheating. Your health is your most valuable asset. After 60, every meal is more than just nutrition. It's an opportunity to actively preserve your quality of life, mental clarity, and independence for years to come. If this video helped you better understand which reheated foods can be harmful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your loved ones, especially older adults who live alone. One small action from you could help protect someone's health, or even prevent a serious illness. Here at Senior Health Zone, I'm Dr. Emily Carter, always here to guide you with simple, accurate, and practical medical advice, designed specifically for men and women over 60 in the U.S. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below to let me know. Have you ever reheated any of the foods we covered today? Is there a habit you're unsure about and want me to investigate? You are never alone in your journey to stay healthy after 60. Senior Health Zone is always here for you.